make sure that everything follows exactly. Okay, so in this case, what we're gonna do is make sure that all the fonts match, everything goes well together. Give me a minute. That everything goes well, all the cells follow the same format of decimals, that everything, if it's 2 decimals, all the sheet is gonna be only 2 decimals. All the fonts are the same, the color is the same, size is the same, all the arrangement by size of data, the tables, the cells, all the sheets have same colorings, or I mean at least the same style, right? And everything looks like if one person did it. Okay, not that, okay, sheet number 1 has X color and sheet number 2 has X color because you did it differently, because we think differently, because I like more these colors. No, you have to agree to something. Okay, so for this matter, what you're gonna look at, give me a second. You're gonna look at here with your Excel, you realize that you have a lot of data in many different ways. So you have to arrange it, you have to clean it, you have to clear it, and make sure that everything looks exactly the same. Okay, so look at that and make sure. This guy, you see, he was very creative and he put it with different colors, but that, I don't want to see that. I want them all standardized in a very, very simple way. Okay, so that's gonna be your job. Now let's look at a couple things in here. So anyways, so that is your marking criteria. You can get 25 marks total. Remember that this assignment is 30% of your final grade. Okay, so it's very heavy. You have to do it properly. I have very, very big expectation out of this, so make sure that you get it clearly, that you do it in advance. You can send me drafts in advance. I can check them and I can tell you whether you're going on the right or wrong direction. You don't want to send me anything and you just want to test your luck and see how that goes. Good luck to you. I don't expect you to get any good grade out of that if you just trust yourself. My expectation is way, way, way too high. Some of your seniors can tell you that already. Okay, very good. So that one. Now, plagiarism declaration. This one is specifically because you have seniors. And you may think this is a very common practice with many students. Oh, I'll ask my seniors for the previous year assignment and I'll just change a couple things and see how that goes. Do not try to attempt it. First of all, because this year the project is different from the previous year. It has less sections. It's another completely data set. I can immediately notice if it's the previous year one. Okay, so don't try, don't test your luck on it. Okay, so this one you have to sign it so that you understand that if you cheat and you follow the project of someone else, not the internet, because in the internet this project doesn't exist and this data set doesn't exist. I made it. Well, I used some data and then I just modified it to my own needs. But in the end, you sign it saying that if you copy from someone else, I can fail you, and that's all. Okay? You acknowledge that. I don't expect that. I think most of you can do very well and you can come with your own thing. So in this thing, so your final assignment, so you have to submit 2 components. So what are those 2 components? Let me go through this one. Okay. 2 components is you have to send an Excel workbook with pivot tables, and then you have to have a written report, okay, for all your business assumptions. So your Excel workbook must have at least minimum 9 worksheets, okay? So at least 9 pivot tables. Pivot tables. In those worksheets, they must be done with pivot tables. One more time, they must be done with pivot tables. So in this case, you may have some extra pivot tables. Why? Because sometimes, like I explained in the unit number 6 or number 7, you have sometimes to dig a little bit more into a certain user and create more pivot tables to really find out what is the true of that. Okay. Now, your project must have 7 sections, and we're going to specify it below. Okay. So in this one, remember, minimum 9 worksheets with 9 pivot tables minimum. So that means if that's 3 members, that means that I expect at least each one of you to do 3 pivot tables for each. Okay. Each of you will do times 3. So minimum equals 9, right? Okay, so that is covered. So now, so in this case, instructions for your worksheet. Let's look at a couple of things in here. So first of all, what are we gonna be doing? So your role is gonna be to be a data analyst. So the first thing that you have to do is combine all the columns from the different departments into a single sheet. Okay, so in this case, what you're gonna be doing is you go through all. Sorry, let me remove this. You're gonna go through all, and then you're gonna select them, and then you're gonna create one, which probably you're gonna call it like master data or something, and then you're gonna select and then put them all together into one so that you can create a table. Okay, all right, is that clear? Hopefully it's that clear. If not clear, then you ask me. Okay, very good. So now, so in this case, like I said, try to use Excel shortcuts, otherwise you can spend long hours. Let me show you an example. You don't want to use shortcuts because you're stubborn, because you never listen to me. So you want to select this date. Okay, wait, you're very stubborn and you want to do your way. So what you do is you start to select manually. You'll see. I'll go. So continue. I'm gonna go and take a coffee, have some waffles, watch a movie, and still I'm not gonna get it done. Why? Because I'm not using shortcuts. So make sure you use all the shortcuts. Remember, you can either select it this way, or you can do the shift and control and down, shift control right, and then you can do it. You also have some autofill functions and so on. So anyways, make sure that you use all that. All right. So in this case, like I said, once you have it there, you're gonna create a table. You know already how to create tables. You have done it before. Once your data is on a table, you have to ensure, like I said, font colors and formats all the same fonts, that everything is, for example, this Calibri, that everything is 1 and 11, that there's 2 decimals, okay, that everything is the same size, that everything is aligned either to the left or to the right or to the center. Like for example, here you have here one, the cells are aligned to the left, to the right, that everything looks the same. Okay, so I made a mess in there, so make sure that everything looks neat. Okay, that is your job. That is your job this time. So now, so for this one, like I said, you have to create minimum 9 different worksheets within a book. Remember, this whole thing is a book. Sorry, this one. Sorry, this one is a book. Okay, all these sheets form a book. Okay, so this one, all these within a book, there will be 9 different worksheets. So in this one, first you put them all together, and then you're gonna create extra 9. Okay, so in this case, for example, what I'm gonna do, okay, I'm gonna start it one more time. So for example, in this one, I have these 3, right? Control Shift, zoom, zoom. So then I'm gonna remove them. Okay, Control X. Then I'm gonna create one new one. Then I'm gonna paste them. Then population by this one I don't need it. You'll see no later why. Control X, and then order sheet. Then I'm gonna paste them here. Okay. So in this one, like I said, now I can call it master date. Okay. So what I'm going to start to do already is start to change things, right? So in this one I can see, for example, I can make it all calibre, all 12. Then this one, maybe all the colors is gonna be this one. Then in this one I have to make sure that there's no conditional formatting or etc, etc. And then like once I have this one for example has this one, so I go through that and I change it. Okay, then I select all the data, and then I can do insert first a table. Okay, then I have to make sure that is clear, that is done properly. This one is I have to this one, banded rows, header row, filter button. Okay, anyways, I'm just doing very quickly, so you have to fix this. Okay, this one you have to fix it on your own. Okay, so anyways, this one, once you do that, this is not in order. Okay, so make sure that everything is in order. Okay, but anyways, once you create that table, then you see, for example, here these two, they are not the same format. This date is different than this date, so you have to fix all that, and then you're gonna create your table for that one, and then after that you're gonna create pivot tables out of that master date. Once all your things are compiled into one, then you're gonna go and do your pivot tables. Okay, actually technically I can do already a pivot table from this one. New worksheet, I can already make some. This one, okay, this one I don't have. Yeah, I can put this count form of payment, so I can already do that one from that master data. But like I said, there's many things that you need to put. You have to think whether they should be included or not. Okay, for example, this population by state, I added for some information to you, but if you realize when you look at the data, when you look at the data, you realize that that data doesn't match in there. Okay, why? Because we have 9,995 rows. So why I added that is later for you to think about how you're going to use that data. So you have to discuss a lot. So anyways, in this case, like I said, you have to present 9 sheets or the tables. In this one, they are going to disappear, because once I cut all the information from this one, for example, if I have in orders ID, I already clear the data from there, what I can do is delete it. Okay, so that data already is in my master data, so I don't need it. So I can already start to remove and have just a single one, which is gonna be called master data 1, and then plus all your pivot tables. Every pivot table now is gonna be one of these ones. Okay, good. So now for you're gonna be adding graphs and tables so that you can represent your data in your report. So this is for the Excel. The Excel, like I said, you have to compile all the information into one single sheet and then start to create your pivot tables. Who's gonna do that? You guys agree? Someone does it all, or you do each 3? You agree to what you wanted there. Okay, so make sure that everything looks neat and nice. So now your written project. Your written project has a couple sections. So the first one you're gonna have is the executive summary. In the executive summary, you will briefly explain what you wanted to achieve in the analysis of this data collected. So what I want to do is, like, I'm trying to make sure that Actually, I'm not actually here. This is a note. Everything must be in third person. So in this case, for example, everything has to say, so this report is trying to look at the performance of this supplier for the past 3 years. So far, it has been observed that the performance for a couple of states has been good, but it needs to be looked further to see if other states need to be removed. That's an example. An executive summary is very short and pretty much focuses on saying, like I said, what was the aim of the analysis of the data collected and what were the outcomes of that, what you found out. So this one, an executive summary, just helps the reader to very quickly, in let's say 1/4 of a page, understand what's going to happen throughout the next following 10 pages. So second, you're going to be a data summary. So in this case, in this section, you will explain the data set verbally in terms of how many variables you have and the purpose of each variable. So you're going to have, like, I have 10 variables, I have X number of units, and this data set mostly talks about a retail company. So it's important to look at the sales. So you're going to try to say it verbally what all this data set is about. Okay. Previously, we have done, for example, with bonds. Previously, we have done with performance of salesmen. So in this case, what is it about? I could tell you now, but you have to figure out. But once you compile the information, you will know what is it about. So in this case, after that, you're gonna be a table of summary. So for example, you're gonna do. It must have all of these ones. All of them must be there. So for example, it must be a table of summary. This one. I don't like this one. A table summary of this one. So you have to put, for example, the shipping modes. We realize there's 3 types of shipping modes: the slow, the standard, and the express. And we found out that the average is 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. So in this case, you're gonna be doing some calculations to find out by counting how many ship modes they are, the average of actual delivery days, number of customers the company has, and who are your top 3 customers, the number of segments you're serving. So for example, I'm serving the office supplies, I'm serving the customer, the consumer, and which one is your top segment? Only one. Number of cities you're serving. How many cities am I serving? You have to find out and find the top 5. Regions, you also have regions, and you're gonna rank them, which is your highest one to your lowest one. Okay, highest to lowest. And then number of products you're offering and which are your top 5 most profitable products. Okay, very good. Now, something that I forgot to tell you is this rearrangement of the tables takes a lot of time. So do not leave your project for last minute thinking like, it's so easy. Professor did it very quickly in 1 minute. Yeah, that's me because I know how to use it. But for you, it might be very different. So make sure that you take your time to do it. Okay. So anyways, this is section number 2 with the data summary. These things must be there. Like I said, these things must be there. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and a verbal description of what is all this data set about. Okay, very good. So now, here I gave you an example. Okay, number of customers 37, and then here my top. Okay, let's say top customers. Top 2 customers. 2 customers are Thomas and Cook and Service and Family. I can even put 1 and then I can put 2. Okay. 2. Okay, this one I'm just gonna. Okay, so now section number 3, methodology. Here you will explain the statistical methods you choose for each pivot table. So I have pivot table number 1, which I call it profit by segment. Which methods am I going to be using? Mathematical methods. I'm going to use the sum of profit and the standard deviation. So in this case, what is the purpose of using those two? So I want to find out what was the major profit achieved according to the segments and understand what deviation in order to assess segments performance. So in this case, choose, this is the modeling, okay? Which data models fit what you want to look for. Don't tell me what you found out. Just tell me what you want to achieve by using those methods. Don't tell me if who is the best one. Here I don't want to know who's the best one. I just want to know why you use that method, and that's it. So for example, in this case, I'm gonna call one profit by segment. From this master data, I create one pivot table, and that pivot table I'm gonna call it, sorry, pivot table, I'm gonna call it profit by segment, and I'm gonna use this method. So that's it. Okay. So now you have the section number 4, your data presentation and discussion. Here you mainly present all the data for each pivot table. So you must have an analysis of 9 pivot tables. Here, an analysis of 9 pivot tables. Okay. And you will discuss your findings. Okay. Here's like how you manipulated the data, what you found. So in this one, for example, I want closing. In this one, I call it, this pivot table, I call it closing the operation from unprofitable states. So my battery is leaving. Just give me 1 second. So in this case, for example, here I want to see, I need to close the operation of unprofitable states. There are some states that are not working, so I'm going to look at who's the lowest performer states in the financial year 2015. So previously I chose, for example, here the method was the sum of profit, and then the standard deviation. I calculated who is outside that standard deviation. I found out that there's these states causing that, so I have that table pretty nicely done. This is a example from a student. I didn't do it. So this one, you have who's within all the states, these were the lowest ones, right? So the five bottom ones. Okay, there's also function in pivot tables to do top 5 or so. This one we have there the description. Also we have here what you saw. So in this one, 5 states, the lowest were these ones. These states have 2 or more standard deviations from 75,000. You calculated the standard deviation as I said it earlier before in here, and in the sum of profit, those were the lowest ones. So most of the states profit varies between 50,000 and 100,000, etc, etc, etc. So I do a description and I back it up with another table in here, and that's it. Remember, in this one you have to put whenever as shown in table 1, as shown in table 2, and this is a table 2. So make sure that you have a good order, right? So if this is, for example, your pivot table 1, I can call it table 1. Table 1.1, and then maybe table, rather than 2, I can put 1.2, and that sounds much better, right? So make sure that all your assignment flows in a nice way with the numbers or the labeling and so on. So then goes next section goes into a managerial actions. In this one you will propose changes. So I realize these are poor states performing, so you have to look at what you're gonna do with it, and it has to be realistic. So for example, in this case, realistic and feasible, we need to improve service delivery time by engaging with a company that can improve the service by at least 1 day. Why? Because maybe I realize that these states are selling very bad because they have poor service level and the average delays to deliver is very slow. So that's why their sales are equally low, because they have very bad service. So in my assessment, that's the reason why it happens. So I'm gonna try to improve the service delivery. What is unrealistic? It says to improve the service, reviews all delivery speeds will be premium and delivered within 24 hours. That is not possible in the real life. So you have to be critical and think really like, if this is a real company and you are presenting to your boss, which is me, your actions. Okay, the same thing. Please be concise and precise. Don't try to give me a long paragraph. Just realize here I have This is one example. It's a very short example. This one is very small paragraph. It can be still a little bit longer. Okay, this one, for example, I think is 100 something. This one is 105 words, so 100 to 150. So a little bit more can be also possible, but just restrict yourselves to that. Now, limitations. In this section, you're going to